This video is meant to give you a basic conceptual understanding of what logarithms are and how to calculate them. Let's start with an example. But first, before we get started, there are a couple terms that refer to parts of the logarithm that you should be familiar with. The base number is the little one in the subscript, and the other number is called the argument. I just wanted to clear that up so you won't be confused by the terminology. Anyway, you would read this as log base 10 of 100. Now, the trick comes in knowing what to do to find the number that this log is equal to, and the way to do that is actually to think of it not as a logarithmic function, but as an exponential function. And so this is the most concise way that I know how to say this, so here goes. The value of the log is the exponent to which the base must be raised to equal the argument. Don't worry if that didn't make sense, because I'm going to illustrate it with a diagram that might be a little easier to understand. Keep in mind that what we are trying to do is find the value of this log. That would be the question mark. And the question we need to ask ourselves is this: what does that question mark have to be so that if I raised 10 to the power of that question mark, I would have something that equals 100? Now, this is where it comes in handy if you rewrite this logarithm as an exponential equation. So, I've rewritten it as an exponential equation. And, by the way, do you notice how the red arrows on the log kind of make a counterclockwise circle? That's just a little trick I use to remember how to rewrite logs into exponential form like I just did. Anyway, now take a look at that exponential equation. Keep in mind, this is really still the same equation, it just looks different because it's now in exponential form. Can you see what the question mark has to be in order to make the equation true? It has to be 2, doesn't it? That's because 10 to the power of 2, 10 squared, that's just 10 times 10, equals 100. Therefore, the value of the logarithm is 2. That's our answer. If some of you didn't follow that, I would highly recommend watching my video on the concept of exponents, because you really can't understand logs without first having a good grasp on exponents. But anyway, let's do one more example. The last problem we did was a log base 10. That's called a common log, by the way. But this example, as you can see, is base 2. And the argument is 8. So we're going to solve this the same exact way as we did before. First, we're going to want to write it as an exponential so that it's going to be easier to see what the question mark has to be. Counterclockwise circle, and it's done. Now, it's a little bit more clear what the question mark has to be, right? 2 raised to what power equals 8? It would be 3, wouldn't it? Because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 2 cubed is 8. Got it? This was a pretty basic conceptual discussion of logs, but if you'd like to see more in-depth information, then please feel free to check out my videos on the log properties as part of my algebra series.